Once upon a time in the year of 2004, Keita Takahashi made a low-budget game with Namco that ended up being a success. It was a game so weird and fun that it was loved by a lot of people. This game was called Katamari Damacy. But what happened next was very unexpected. A sequel. Unfortunately, Takahashi himself doesn't like the idea of sequels, and when Namco said that they would continue the series with or without him, well, he gave in and directed the second and last Katamari game. After that though, he moved on with other projects and is nowadays on the indie gaming scene with games like this. On this. But now with him out of the picture, Namco of course decided to make more sequels, mobile games, and even release a remaster. But let's rewind a bit and talk about their first Katamari game without him, which weirdly enough was on a portable console. This is Katamari's forgotten PSP game, Me and My Katamari. Now you would expect this game to be a bit different due to the creator being gone, but you're wrong. You can actually still feel his wackiness just from seeing this file screen, which is taken straight from We Love Katamari, which will be a pen we'll get through later. Once you pick either Na, M or Ko, gets in Namco, begin this funky intro sequence with a king, queen, and prince having fun in a summer vacation. Although that won't be much of the case soon, since the king accidentally messes up again and causes a tsunami that wipes out nearby islands where friendly animals live. So now you, the prince, must now do the dirty work again for the king, and do the requests of these animal friends. The first mission is with this rat who has lost his memory enough to do the tutorial and roll up weird green things. And the king launches with a slingshot that nearly hits his ball. Unfortunately, since this is on the PSP, it lacks a second analog stick to move your Katamari, so they instead make you use the D-pad and 4 face buttons. This may sound like it would make the controls less precise, but I think it's a pretty good compromise. I think it's pretty similar to how you played Katamari Damacy with a keyboard on your PC, if you like doing that for some reason. But it did start cramping my hands after a few hours of gameplay. Anyways, after you roll your cousin, the king turns that Katamari ball into an island, and what's cool is you can play the stage again and potentially make the animal friend even happier and get him a bigger island. Or a rock for some reason. After that, the actual game finally begins. Like every Katamari game, you roll in the Katamari for as big as you can before the timer hits 0. And there's actually some stuff that has changed here. For one, the stages are smaller now, either because it is to make rolling objects easier or just the PSP tuned the size. These stages unfortunately doesn't really have new designs and are mostly just smaller counterparts because of that. But they do try to mix up stuff by having different seasons on each stage, I guess. Of course, there's the usual ability to replay the stage with either normal mode to get a bigger higher score if you want, or eternal mode if you want to roll forever or stop and look at the very simplistic art style this game has. Every mission will also get progressively bigger, leading up to even having the ability to roll up islands, but of course I won't even talk about this game without even mentioning the music, and they're mostly not new. New songs though include songs like Katamari Resort, Jesus Island, yeah, that's actually the title of this song, and the intro theme song, Katamari on the Funk. Which coincidentally sounds similar to False Face from PSP Ridge Racer. They're actually both done by the same composer, Yu Miyake. While there's not a lot of notable original songs, they fit well with the reused songs. They reuse songs you might already know of, like Everlasting Love, Koi Sera Sera, Baby Universe, and the now iconic Katamari on the Rocks. They really are some of the greatest songs in any video game I've played, so I always end up listening to them outside, even when I'm not playing a Katamari game. Oh yeah, another great thing is the art style has been kept properly, even on much less powerful hardware. I don't even mind that a lot of these models are low poly and they have like PS1 quality textures. I think the game's art style fits perfectly with the much less powerful PSP. But of course it still has some downsides like the render distance of these objects and the game only running at 30 FPS. The king also makes some weird comments when you roll on stuff that interests him, like your cousins and presents. And once you finish a mission, you can actually go wear those clothes you get from your present or take a tour to Beanstalk Island where you'll meet the cousins you collected. Unlike the original Katamari Damacy, you can actually play them without going to co-op mode. And if you travel at the next island, you will probably see my favorite part of this game that is unfortunately very underused. And that is Volcano Island. This is where you can meet animal friends who prefer a much more different and specific mission besides making the biggest Katamari for an island. They even have the effort to make exclusive stages for these missions. First Volcano Island mission is with this gorilla who wants you to roll up a big ball of rocket fuel to go to space, and yes, that sounds as ridiculous as it is. The UI is also different. It shows you how hot the fuel is depending on the size, and once the timer is almost up, you quickly go under a rocket and witness the launch.
3, 2, 1, 0.
There's also more interesting missions like rolling up old things for a crane and rolling up a huge pile of treasure in the middle of the desert. The weirdest one for me is with this chameleon who tasks you to get whatever he wants depending on his list, and near the end, literally all his list is collecting children. That's pretty suspicious. Anyways, after that there's no more Volcano Island missions, and it really sucks since this was the highlight of the game for me. Probably everyone else's. And after that disappointment, I can finally talk about the final mission of this game, where the statue that looks like the king asks you to build a grand island. In this mission you transition with a lot of stages and sizes until you reach the final size. The size so big that you can actually roll into the king and queen. And once that really massive mission ends, you make the cosmic island, which is really big and wonderful, and the king suddenly turns pixelated as the credits roll. And this might be my favorite credit sequence in any game since you play a 2D remake of Katamari where you can even jump. And also, yeah, the credits song is just great. And once the credit is over, the king of all pixels congratulates you and mentions that there's a second stage of its minigame in the Seaside Memorial, where you can also get to replay the first stage to get a bigger, higher score. And after that, the game is finally done and you can do anything you want, I guess. So that was me and my Katamari, a game that is surprisingly still good even without its creator being involved at all, while also having some stuff that makes it a bit small and short. I don't know if it's because of the rushing deadline since this game was released literally months after Real of Katamari or the UMD size, but this game really needed more stuff in it. At least give me double or even triple the amount of Volcano Island missions and a slightly more varied group of stages. I would also say that this game is a bit too similar to Wheel of Katamari, but I'll give it a pass solely because it's a portable game and just with how small the time frame is, I think they could make a new Katamari game at that time. But besides that, this is still a really fun and weird experience, as any Katamari game should be. I think this is just a game that you can get out of your pocket when you're bored or just want to try something that isn't mentally taxing. After all, this game was made for a portable console and you just have to roll one big sticky ball in this game. And while this game has those downsides I've mentioned before, I'd say just have some mindless fun with me and my Katamari, because why not? And if you don't find this game fun, then you'll probably not even like every other Katamari game. Weirdo.